Down, you know. In the shade with street life from, you know. Uptown full of fun, you know. Nah, do. ATI, we are going now. Cherry Garden. Dream Weekend coming now. Middlesboro, Jackson. Smash, I got done, you know. Oh, here we go. Summertime is here, you know. It's a holiday. School is closed. We feel the vibes, you know. Summertime in a boat boom. Summertime in a...
Good morning and welcome to Teen Talk for this week. I am Yanita Costa. This week we talk about politics. Now there is the view that young people aren't interested in politics. How true is that? Has the Manhattan Inquiry impacted our world? What about trust issues and our political leaders? WikiLeaks? How can we make an impact? To help us tackle these issues are Siobhan Hutchinson, Senior Prefect of Camperdown High, Shamel Wright, Head Girl Nominee and Prefect of Holy Childhood High, and member from the current Parish Champions Debate Team of Arden High, Yakum Fitzhenley. Now before we get started, let's see what some of our peers had to say as CVM asked students from the bus park area about politics.
I love this, you know.
Politics.
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 I don't find any interest in politics, you know.
I don't have any interest.
So we're not really interested in politics.
I don't really business all the things said. Them should just forget about the whole idea.
This is the whole same Jamaica to me.
Get some new people and everything in one.
I don't see anybody doing anything different.
Still, I have to just cooperate.
Teenagers should not be in politics.
We are not able to vote until we reach the age of 18.
Basically, leave that for the older people.
It's adults things.
Summertime in a Kingston.
Now guys, having seen that Vox Pop, we get the basic idea that persons think, okay, teenagers shouldn't be involved in politics. We don't care about politics really. It's boring, you know, it's way over our heads. What do you think? Do you think politics is important to us as young people?
Well, yes, I think politics is important. I think it's a way forward. We're supposed to be, you know, interested in what's happening in our country, current affairs, knowing different laws that have been passed, how it affects us as teenagers. So, yes, it's important.
Yakum, what's your view?
I think what teenagers think, they have a view of politics that they did just what old people inside a big room talking and hitting on decks and they think.
This is true. So
we have to realize that the laws that are passed in our parliament affect us. They are the youth laws and they think, many people don't know that the student council president is supposed to be inside a boardroom whenever students are going to be expelled. So this is just a symbol of the non-interest of teens, and I think that really needs to change.
So you're basically saying that young people should play larger roles in politics, you know? You should see more young faces? Is that
Most
true?
definitely.
Shamel?
I believe that we should be aware of politics because it affects everyone, and it affects our economy. And I know most teenagers might think, okay, we're young now, so politics isn't really important to us. But in Jamaica, we're able to vote at 18. And at 18, we're still teenagers, which means that we need to understand certain things that are happening around us in terms of politics and political issues, so we can be able to move forward and actually make a change.
Exactly, because really, what will become of our country if we don't know what's going on or what is being done right now? But are our politicians setting good examples for our young people, making them want to become leaders? I mean, we are the future, yes, but are they really making us want to be the future?
Honestly, I don't see anyone in Parliament where I can say I aspire to be like him. And to be honest, it is a disgrace because, I mean, just watching them on TV sometimes and the way they behave, I have to be wondering what exactly is going on, because if they can't follow simple instructions that the chairman proceed, like be quiet or, you know, control yourself.
Regular
I mean, those are the same issues. Those are the same issues that we are finding in the classrooms, and which means that they're not far better than us.
Exactly, I agree with Shamel. I think what happens that sometimes you may see the politician in a positive light, and then you hear something on the television about them and you say, okay, well, I don't trust this person again, and then they might do something and try to, you know, bring back their reputation, and then you go back and see, they hear something else about them.
So trust is a major issue, you're saying?
Definitely.
So when you think about trust, I'm thinking WikiLeaks. You guys have a general idea what WikiLeaks are, right? Okay.
Some understanding.
Some understanding. What do you understand? Exactly. What do you think WikiLeaks are?
WikiLeaks, to me, is a symbol of the 21st century, the freedom of media and freedom of speech. However, implicated, we have to remember that the conversations sometimes confidential, and we have to be responsible with how we publish these leaks and how we take it upon ourselves. However, I think it is a good thing for us to be aware of what's going on behind closed doors.
Yes, it's good for us to be aware, but then think about it. Shouldn't the politicians themselves saying these things be aware that maybe this might not be so confidential? We didn't sign anything. We're having a conversation. It's freedom of speech, like you said. It can be published to the world. Shouldn't they be able to be responsible about what they're saying?
Well, I think they should be just more responsible generally. However, it's a case where we're getting an insight into the mind of how these politicians think.
Yes.
And to be honest, to be frank, it doesn't look to be a very good place inside their mind. Really.
Oh, okay. So you're saying basically, when we look at that, we're just basically seeing corruption. Because I mean, I asked upon hearing that our topic would be politics, I asked around. You know, we're all asked to ask for information and stuff, to interview, do a little research, and I would ask young people when they think of politics, what comes to mind? And would you believe it that they said corruption?
But I agree.
I don't see how they expect us to trust them when within their own party they don't trust each other.
I agree.
Exactly.
Okay.
And the issue with politics as well, I think it's because most young persons who are actually interested or knows about politics, I think they don't necessarily want to get involved because, you know, they're afraid of the repercussions that will happen, you know, if you live in a certain area that is of this political persuasion, and, you know, you go and express your views about a next party and put them in a negative light, then I know, you know, that, you know, some bad will happen to you.
And then some persons are forced to vote a certain way. In some areas, that's what they call tribal politics sometimes. But let's backtrack a little bit. Shamel, you're saying that there's so much anger nowadays. Among politicians, you're saying there's also anger and confrontation, and they're not, even in the regular parliamentary room, they're discussing things and they're behaving like, you know, how they shouldn't behave as politicians. Do you think that there is some training, a level of training to become a politician?
Most definitely, and I hope to see some young faces in Parliament. To be honest, I understand that we need to learn from our elders, and we need to learn so we can be more like them, but they don't set proper examples for us to aspire to be like them. So we need to have more young people in Parliament, you know. I believe that they're just hanging on to a thread. Most of them, they don't want to come out, and it's time, because I have certain conversations at school in the lounge, because we're in sixth form and we talk, and we talk about politics and we interact, and honestly I see some good politicians among ourselves, so I know that we Jamaicans, there's still a chance for good governance. We have a chance for change. There's changes out there for us.
But you said, you know, they start off with good intentions, yes, but today there are good politicians. Yes,
I agree.
They start off with good intentions, they have the ideas, they have the drive, they have the motivation. However, in order to get to where they need to be to make a change, compromises must be made. We have to look at that, guys. Compromises must be made. And in the process of compromising, some things get muddled, you know, some lines get crossed, and eventually they just fall through the cracks.
But importantly, I think where compromise is concerned, I think sometimes we compromise too much, and so it causes problems. So you will have issues where corruption is concerned. But I think if you make a stand and you stand for something, then I think, and stand up and say, okay, this is what I firmly believe in, and if it is that this is what I'm going to do that goes against my moral or my values, then I will not do it. But then if it doesn't go against your moral, then I guess.
But do you think that that individual will last very long in Parliament if he's not?
That's very thin-skinned, don't you think?
No, but I'm saying if it is that more than one person, they actually stand up and say, yes, this is what we firmly believe in, then they can make a change. And one person can make a change. So Yeah, I believe that.
I mean, I have to agree with you, Siobhan, because it's the old idiom, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything.
Exactly.
I agree.
And compromise, yes, but where you're going to give up ethics and morals, I really don't see how that can be classified as compromise, because compromise really is a negotiation for a better situation. I don't know how giving up morals will make up a better situation. And I have to agree with Shimel on the new faces, the younger faces in politics, but I have to ask the question, where would these younger faces come from? I mean, with the G2K, the PNPYO, it seems like these are just people who want to follow in the footsteps of those before them.
So as much as we like to follow tradition, as much as tradition is okay, following the steps of our forefathers, we need innovation.
But also, I think, you know, change is good, but I think we don't necessarily want too much new face. Well, for me personally, I don't want too much new face. I think it should be a balance. You can't have too much of, you know, the senior person than in the youth. And it should be a balance.
As a gradual change, you said.
I
Okay.
agree.
Okay, so what about these repercussions you were talking about earlier? Repercussions of, say, the WikiLeaks now. How does it affect the Jamaican relationship with the U.S. and vice versa? Is it a good thing? Are there good repercussions and bad repercussions, both?
As I said earlier, it's freedom of speech, freedom of media. Of course, that's always a thing to be welcomed. However, where you have a situation where diplomats are talking between each other, it's not everything you're going to want to be published. I mean, let's just face it, some things are supposed to be private within the running of a country. It can affect public security and it can cause mayhem and anarchy.
Okay, understandable. So let's quickly look at how the inquiry, the Manatee inquiry, and the whole Tivoli incursion, how did that affect our youth? Because I know that was huge for me, especially last year, because we were doing CXC, and we were supposed to be doing our English examinations, major examinations, and person just could not go to school for the exams. They had to go to other places, the CXC centers. Siobhan, you were telling us before your experience, to share with us that really, really quickly.
Yeah, well, yeah, it was really traumatic for me, for one, as well as my classmates. You know, we had to go to the CXC center and, you know, going on the road, you hear the shots firing, you have to be running, taking cover. You don't know where the persons are coming from. You see the police, then while we were doing exams, you know, we were praying and say, oh my God, this is our last day. And you know, you had... we had a fire bombing at the station, so we saw the smokes, and you know, classmates, we had to go back to Camperdown to do the Spanish exams, and I think they had to be running into the car, and shots were firing, and you know, persons who were not even Christians were even praying better than the Christians. You know, it was really traumatic, and then we had persons who were actually in Tivoli. They couldn't come out to do their exams, and they had to be calling us, and they were under the beds and hiding, and they were saying, listen, listen, you hear the gunman, them, you hear them kick off the door, you hear the police, them. It was really traumatic. So
I didn't have to experience that, and I'm traumatized just hearing about it. But this is very engaging conversation, guys. I mean, we could go on forever. Politics is very sensitive a topic, but we could really go on. I'm glad that our young people today have a voice on politics. Remember, you can follow us at Teen Talk CVM on Twitter and check out our Facebook page, Teen Talk CVM. Thank you again. Very engaging discussion, as I said. We are the future of this nation. At the end of the day, if we don't get involved, who will? Thank you, Yakum from Arden, Shamel from Holy Childhood, and Siobhan from Camperdown. I'll see you next week with more riveting discussions. This has been Teen Talk. See you later.